At the beginning of the 20th century, Europe was characterized by political tension, nationalism, imperial rivalry, and an increasingly rigid system of military alliances. The major powers were divided into two opposing blocs: the Triple Entente, consisting of France, the United Kingdom, and Russia, and the Triple Alliance, consisting of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. These alliances were intended as instruments of deterrence, but significantly increased the risk that localized conflicts would escalate into a general war. A major point of instability was the Balkan region, where the decline of the Ottoman Empire and the rise of nationalist movements created persistent conflict. Austria-Hungary and Russia competed for influence in this area, particularly over Serbia. On 28 June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was assassinated in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip, a Bosnian Serb nationalist. Austria-Hungary held Serbia politically responsible and issued an ultimatum containing demands that infringed on Serbian sovereignty. When Serbia did not fully comply, Austria-Hungary declared war on 28 July 1914. The alliance system was rapidly activated. Russia mobilized in support of Serbia. Germany declared war on Russia on 1 August and on France on 3 August. Germany's invasion of neutral Belgium prompted the United Kingdom to enter the war on the 4th of August, 1914. What began as a regional crisis thus became a European war within days. Germany initially pursued the Schlieffen Plan, aiming to defeat France quickly before turning against Russia. The advance through Belgium and northern France was halted in September 1914 at the First Battle of the Marne. Along the Western Front, opposing forces established extensive trench systems stretching from the English Channel to the Swiss border. The war in the West developed into a prolonged war of attrition, dominated by artillery, machine guns, and defensive fortifications. On the Eastern Front, German forces achieved major victories over Russia at the Battle of Tannenberg and the Masurian Lakes, while Austria-Hungary suffered severe defeats against Russian and Serbian forces. Unlike the Western Front, the Eastern Front remained more fluid, with greater territorial movement. At sea, the United Kingdom used its naval superiority to impose a blockade on Germany, restricting access to food and raw materials. Germany responded with submarine warfare, deploying U-boats against Allied and neutral shipping. This marked a significant escalation in naval conflict. The war rapidly expanded beyond Europe. Japan entered the war on the Allied side in 1914 and seized German possessions in East Asia and the Pacific. Fighting also occurred in Africa and the Middle East. In late 1914, the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers, opening new fronts in the Caucasus, Mesopotamia, and the Dardanelles. The Allied attempt to force the Dardanelles and capture Constantinople in 1915, known as the Gallipoli Campaign, ended in failure. In 1915, the Ottoman government began the systematic deportation and mass killing of the Armenian population. The majority of historians classify these events as the Armenian Genocide, in which over 1 million Armenians were killed. From 1915 onward, the war on the Western Front was characterized by large-scale offensives with minimal territorial gains and extremely high casualties. The first use of chemical weapons, including chlorine and later mustard gas, intensified the destructive nature of the conflict. In 1916, two of the war's largest battles took place, Verdun and the Somme, together resulting in more than 1 million casualties. Tanks were introduced for the first time, but their early technical limitations prevented a decisive breakthrough. By 1917, prolonged warfare had placed immense strain on all belligerent societies. In Russia, military defeats and economic collapse led to the Russian Revolution. Following the Bolshevik seizure of power, Russia withdrew from the war in early 1918 after signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Germany resumed unrestricted submarine warfare in January 1917, targeting shipping around the British Isles.
Attacks on neutral vessels and the Zimmermann telegram, in which Germany proposed an alliance with Mexico against the United States, led to the U.S. declaration of war on Germany on 6 April 1917. Although American forces required time to mobilize, their economic and military support proved decisive. In 1918, Germany transferred troops from the former Eastern Front to the west and launched a final series of offensives. Initial advances were achieved, but the offensives ultimately failed due to logistical shortages, exhaustion, and mounting Allied resistance. From mid-1918 onward, Allied forces, now reinforced by large numbers of American troops, launched a coordinated counteroffensive known as the 100 Days Offensive.